Hello and welcome to the Sias to Plessis show. Thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed. Remember to hit the notification button so you don't miss an episode. Today's guest, well, he's got an incredible story. Lebesa Selepe. He's the captain of the MBB basketball team representing South Africa at the Basketball Africa League later this year. You don't want to miss the episode. Thanks again for liking and subscribing. Let's get to it. This is a special moment. We've got a brand new studio, and where we started off in just as COVID was coming to kind of an end, we had a little small room and we were quite proud of our little space. And now feels like we've grown up a little bit here on the Sias to the Sea show. And a big shout out to Steve, to Ray and Chris for making this happen, because yeah, this is our new home. And Lebesa Selepe, thank you for joining us. You're the first guest in our new studio. So welcome. Congratulations on everything. I know Basketball Africa League is not far away. As the captain of MBB basketball, how are things going at the moment? And welcome. I mean, I'm just so proud, as you can see. I'm absolutely. I think the moment just like got to me a second there when I suddenly realized, hang on a second, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So. What do you think?
You're smiling ear to ear. This is a beautiful home, and I know you're going to have a lot of great guests come through here. I'm just honored to be the first.
Oh, welcome.
I might engrave my name on the table.
I think that's not a bad idea.
I mean, how are things going for MBB? Wow, Sias, it's going great.
Yeah.
I'm training. We're training so hard right now. I mean, I do not remember a time in my career where I've ran this much. I must have lost 5-6 kilograms in the space of 3 weeks, and I think I've got another 5-6 kilograms to lose. I might just disappear and vanish, and you might not see me on the court. But it's all good, because we know the level of work that's required to just compete at the BAL level. And I think we sort of scraping the surface. In weeks to come, we can honestly say that we thoroughly prepared to win basketball games there. But it's one session at a time. It's about piling on great days, and the great days make a great week. Great weeks make a great month. And before we know it, we've had a great season. That's the bigger vision, but we can only do it one session at a time, one drill at a time, and that's where we are right now.
We'll get into BAL and the now conference where you find yourselves in, and there's some sharks swimming in that group, including yourselves, actually.
Yeah.
But tell me, what makes Basketball Africa League such a special moment? Because I remember interviewing you before for a TV insert that we done, and we were down to your training sessions, and you said it feels like the NBA, right? It's really come to Africa, and that's essentially what it's about, right?
It's everything we dreamed of. The window of playing professional basketball is so small. There's 30 teams in the NBA, 15 players on a roster. That's about 450 players. 450 players in the world, and not everybody's going to make it. So now you have to look at other opportunities where you could potentially land up as a basketball player. There's leagues everywhere. There's leagues in Australia. There's leagues in Europe. There's leagues in South America. There's leagues in Asia. Africa has never really gotten a united league until now. And I mean, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to go to the BAL when it was in Pretoria last year, but just the production, you automatically know that you are playing basketball at a level that's different. You have officials reffing your game that are from the NBA, from the G League, from all over Africa. So it's just a higher level of basketball. The ball feels different. The lights are almost as bright as it is in here, and that's where you get tested. That's where you want to be playing as an athlete. You want to be playing at a place where your family looks at you at home and say, wow, that is my son, that is my brother, that is my husband, that is my dad, and be proud of you, and that's what the BAL has brought to Africa, to kids from Soweto like me, who always had a dream of playing basketball at a professional level and have been presented with that opportunity. It's just great. I hope that everybody can get an opportunity to experience it. I know that it's not possible, but I mean, there's guys like me that can really tell the story, and I hope I do it justice.
Let's talk about your story, because I've been doing some research. Let me not knock over my mug here, but I believe you stumbled onto basketball, if I'm not mistaken, right? Something about a cricket practice that went pear-shaped or was cancelled. Just take me there.
So somebody once coined it as Lebesa Selepe was bowled over by basketball, you know, and I loved
I like
I loved
that.
how you put it, because I always played cricket. At home, I mean, our house wasn't big, but in our 7-8 meter driveway, that's where we played cricket with my brothers. And it was hella competitive, you know. If you go offside to that wall, that's 2 runs. If you go straight past the bowler, that's 4. If you hit it past the garden on the right, that's another 4. If you hit it out of the yard, that's 6 and out. You know, the garage gate was electric wicket keeper. You know, I mean, it was very competitive growing up. So all I knew in terms of summer sports was cricket. But my brother wasn't that much of a cricketer, and he went to JP High School for boys 3 years before me, and he taught me how to play basketball, you know, just as fun, you know. I think he just wanted somebody to beat up on, and he did a very good job of that for a long time. And so I knew how to play basketball when I was in primary school. Primary schools didn't offer basketball that much then. So when I went to high school, a cricket practice ended early, and I went to the basketball courts because that's where my late father was going to pick us up. So my brother Piello said, "Hey, just go mess around with the under 14s, you know." And I mean, they were learning basketball from scratch, and I had at least a year and a half experience from playing with my brother in Soweto. So I just shined, you know, and I never looked back. That day they were selecting a team. I was on that team. The next day, I didn't know what to do because I packed my cricket bag. There was no cricket game. Packed a cricket bag because my parents thought I'm playing cricket, but I was actually going to basketball. And my brother had no other option but to be a big brother and say, Lebesa's playing basketball. He's not playing cricket anymore. Just watch. That's what he said to my parents. Just watch. And I mean, my parents weren't happy. Cricket equipment is not easy. I had a gun and more bag, grey nickels, pads, gloves.
I mean, you were kitted up
I
properly.
was kitted up, you know. I had everything. I had spikes. I had everything. But now I needed a pair of basketball sneakers because we couldn't do hand-me-downs for that long with my big brother. And, you know, my parents never looked back.
Yeah.
They saw how much basketball really levitated to me before I levitated to it, how much it showed me love, how I was faster than everyone. I could jump higher than everyone in my school. And I mean, I was 13 years old in grade 8, so I'm already playing under 14. So that's an advantage for me. If I'm good against other 14-year-olds, I mean, what's there for me out there?
I mean, you're 6'3", right?
Yes, I am.
How tall were you then? Were you taller than the competition? Or?
I wasn't. When I got to grade 8, I wasn't that tall. Okay. I got a growth spurt in grade 10.
Okay.
My dad had to buy 3 blazers in the same year. That's when I started shooting up. But I wasn't that tall, but I was an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, I could jump, I could run. I was very vocal. I still am right now. So coaches levitated to the fact that we have somebody that could play point guard, who could play big, because my brother was also a forward. So he taught me a little bit of post moves. I could do a little bit of everything, you know. And it wasn't a matter, I mean, that grade 8 year, I played under 14. In the summer, later in the year, I'm playing under 15, under 16, you know. And then in grade 9, I'm playing under 15, under 16, more under 16 than under 15. Then later in my grade 9 year, I played first team basketball.
Okay.
At 14 years old.
Wow.
I played first team basketball at JP at 14 years old. And I had 3 good seasons of first team basketball, which is something that not everybody can do.
Let me ask you, you look around now, and it was something I think you also said, the amount of kids playing basketball now at schools is incredible.
It's crazy.
To go back, I mean, 34 years old now,
Yeah.
birthday just the other day. Happy birthday, belated.
Thank you.
You go back to when you were 14, basketball wasn't even close to where it is today.
No.
I mean, in their schools, and it pains me to say this because DHS was one of our rivals in Durban.
Okay.
But I believe they have a phenomenal basketball setup. Saints. I mean,
Yes.
Jeppy still, if I'm not mistaken, have a
Yes.
really good setup.
Yes.
So it's amazing to see what's going on in the schools around South Africa.
Oh no, basketball has taken over in the schools, to be honest with you, Sias. You can't even get a B team for cricket, barely.
Yeah,
know?
I mean, it's
You know, it's
you
under
struggle.
14A and under 14B, under 15A, under 15B. But basketball, you have an F team.
Why is that, do you think? Is it because the NBA, because of NBA Africa? Or what do you think it's...
There's a lot of elements to it,
Yeah.
honestly speaking. Cricket takes the whole day.
It does.
It really takes the whole day.
And you get sunburned.
You get sunburned.
Ask me.
And if you're playing basketball, you go there, you're done at 12, 1 o'clock, you know, if you're under 14 and you have to stay for your first team game.
Yeah.
Whereas with cricket, you'd be lucky if you're out of there at 3 o'clock and you started at 8 a.m. You know, when basketball is done, you just changing innings over, you know, you have to pad up or you have to start fielding into the afternoon. So I think there's that, but also it's just the beauty of basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball is so attractive. It is so attractive. It is a fast-paced game, end to end, literally 28 meters, 2 hoops on either side, 1 ball, 10 people chasing after this ball, trying to manufacture a way of amassing more points than the other team. And it's when we get into tactics and everything and how teams are supposed to be playing and how they're not playing, it's just a chat that you can have for an entire day.
I think the little bit that I can watch of the NBA, because the time zone's mad.
Yes.
I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I love my NFL. It's the same story.
Yes.
Like Sunday night football, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this could end at 2 a.m., right?
Yeah.
But the physical specimens, the skills, these are incredible human beings, incredible athletes. That must rub off on your 13-year-old at Jeppy, for example.
It's attractive.
They see Giannis, they see these incredible stars.
Yes.
Obviously, the culture and what that entails also is attractive. But I think they look at that and go, what an amazing sport. People fly through the air.
Yeah, they literally defy gravity, right? They defy the laws of science. And it's something I love that you raised that, because then as a coach at JP, I have to fight to teach fundamentals.
Yeah.
To tell these boys at 14, 15, 16 that, wait, let's take it a step back. You're not Steph Curry immediately. You have to start close at the rim, start with the fundamentals, then you can start moving out. Then you have to start with the layup.
Yeah.
Then you can do a layup or you hit the backboard. Then you can grab a tennis ball and try dunk that. Then you can grab a soccer ball and try dunk that. Then you can dunk a basketball. Then you can go 2 hands. You know, it's a fight that we have as coaches, but it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have because kids love the game and they want to learn so much. They want to learn so much. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time for basketball in terms of numbers. Maybe not so much of the administration part of it, which is another story for another day.
Yeah.
But it's just beautiful. What we see out there on a weekly basis is beautiful. My brother and I, we go to the St. John's tournament, obviously, because I'm coaching right now. And, I mean, we rugby gurus. We love rugby. You know, rugby is our first sport.
Okay.
You know? We watch
yourselves, your brothers, and your brother?
All 3 of us.
Really?
I have 2 older brothers. We all loved rugby. I knew how to do the haka the same time I learned how to sing the national anthem. That's how much I love rugby.
Okay.
You know, so we're rugby gurus.
We'll touch on that.
We're
Absolutely.
100% anytime. So, I mean, we went to St. John's tournament and we literally said, wow, this is as big as Kes Fest, St. John's Fest, St. Stephen's Fest. I mean, there's a beer tent. There's all these restaurants selling food. There's kids coming to just watch basketball. Under 13, under 15, under 19. It's the apex of basketball, you know. And I mean, I as a coach go through so many emotional roller coasters, you know. I mean, my first team this year went from being 24th last year, which is last, and we lost this year in the semi-final to the eventual champions, Northwood, by 5 points. And for the first time in a very long time, I couldn't hold the tears from running down my face because I felt I put these kids through so much and they responded, and here we are, almost at the top of basketball in this country. You know, and it's just a great time to be alive, like I said.
In case you're joining us from wherever you are in the world, and thank you for liking and subscribing to the show, these are all schools in and around South Africa. And I mean, it's not all private schools, right? These are government schools, funded schools that are excelling. I mean, tell me about the talent that we have, because you as a coach seeing this talent, you must be quite excited to see where this leads, considering the leaps and bounds that the sport has made in a short space of time.
It turns adults into groupies and fans, you know, because I don't remember a time where I was able to name so many different players from so many different schools. You know, you get Luseko Asikulume from Westville, great point guard, 17-year-old tall. You have Enzo Mweli, who is at Westville but is currently at American International School. He's a super athlete, could be going to America. You know, you have Siamtanda Shabalala from Northwood, and I'm talking about one province. I haven't even come to St. John's where we talk about Yanda Peter. I haven't looked at Siabonga Mashaba from Eska Warriors, you know, Soweto native, just like me. Maybe I'm being a bit biased, but there are kids that play. There's Thomas Faggers from Pretoria Boys, lights out shooter, you know. And you look at this talent pool and you wish, can we put them in a national team? Can we formulate 2-3 strong Gauteng teams to compete in an IPT. There's just so much talent. There's a lot of unearthing that needs to happen, and I wish it happens for these kids' sake. In July, I'm going to Kigali to coach at a Giants of Africa festival. I've selected 8 players.
And that's schools level?
These are schools,
Okay.
This is schools under 18 level, and I've selected 8 players. Some of the kids that I mentioned are on that team. I'm so excited. I just want to see these boys go and compete in Africa.
Yeah.
Get the opportunity at 18, 17, 16 that I wish I had, at that point in time. It's going to be great. I can't wait to start working with them, to start seeing how they gel together, because they're all from different schools, different provinces, different upbringings. And that's the beauty of the game.
We've seen, Africa's produced some ridiculous talent. Some of the GOATs, you know, it's the roots are there. There's the link. Where does South African talent rank amongst that? Especially now, let's take it a step back from the BAL sort of things. Let's go to the schools level. If you look around the continent, are we in the mix here?
We are in the mix. We are in the mix. Let's take it to when I was under 18. When I was under 18, there was a gentleman named Chilizi Nepawe. We went to Basketball Without Borders, which was the top 100 players on the continent. Chilizi Nepawe was the most feared. And I'm talking about, think about a lock forward, Eben Etzebeth or Bakis Bota, even an enforcer on a basketball court. And he was feared, renowned on the continent by his peers. He went to America, he went to New Mexico University, and now he's playing basketball in First Division Japan. Chiliz has made a great name for himself in international basketball. May not have cracked the NBA, but he really did make a name for himself. And then, if we were going to go with recency, we talk about Samkelo Cele. My teammate at my former Cape Town Tigers, he's just, there's no bigger stat than that. He just played in the NBA Summer League. He's currently playing in Spain. We may see him come to the Basketball Africa League. We just don't know where he's going to end up next, but he's making a name for himself, So in terms of respect, in terms of reverence on this continent, yes, South African basketball players do get that respect, that level of respect. You look at Neom Tiba, who's currently 43 years old, is going to play in the Basketball Africa League for the first time. I just cannot wait. When you're preparing to go play in a league and you're excited for yourself, but you're also excited for your teammates.
Yeah.
I'm excited for someone like Devon Fachi, who's from Zimbabwe. He's going to be the first ever Zimbabwean to play in the Basketball Africa League. I just cannot wait for him to have that moment on the court, get his first basket, get his first assist. It's just beautiful. Nino Dim, UJ alumni. He's going to be the first UJ alumni to play in the Basketball Africa League. It's a time where you're seeing a lot of firsts. Yeah.
And this buzz, like I could see it. You guys were absolutely buzzing when we were at your training session. You've got a new coach in the building. Sam Vincent's joined, former Dallas Mavericks coach.
Yes.
What's his impact been? I know he has connections to South Africa and he has spent time here, but what has his impact been so far? Because Cyril has done a phenomenal job and 100%. He's one of the co-founders. Shout out to Cyril Shabalala. But the big boys in town now, because, you're heading, this is not, with all due respect, you're not playing, other South African teams. You're playing the best on the continent.
Exactly.
In the Nile Conference, you've got to show up.
We have to show up. We have to show up. And, Sam Vincent just came back from a trip in Rabat to see the first round of games in the Kalahari Conference.
That's right, yeah.
And Sam came back and he ramped up the ramping up that he was doing, because he realized how much we have to get stronger, faster, fitter. And, one of his sayings is, there is no pill that I can give to you that's going to make you better conditioned. Our aim is to be the best conditioned team in the BAL. Whether or not we make our shots or not is another discussion for another day, but we will not be tired.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. And that's what he's brought to it. He's very detailed. He won the league. He won the NBA in 1986. The only MBB player that was alive at the time was Neom Tiba, and he was 3 years old. So if he wants us to do cartwheels backwards, that's exactly what we're going to do. Because he's not thumb-sucking anything. He knows exactly what it takes. He knows exactly. He's coached in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? He coached Nigeria in the Olympics. So he's got the DNA, first of all, of winning, but he's got the know-how. And he can regurgitate all that information to us. All we need to do is be sponges, empty our glasses, and take in as much as we can.
And what is an immediate sort of feedback been to you guys? I know you said you've got to be conditioned, you've got to be fit, and we've seen even in soccer and in football, those teams that are conditioned and fit tend to be the ones that have the most success at the end of the day. But from a skills point of view, a tactics point of view, what is kind of the things he's looking at you guys working on? Like I see you rubbing your hands now, getting ready for business. I know you've come straight from training, but without giving away too many secrets, what are you guys, because I look at your group here in this Nile conference. I mean, the team from Tripoli, there's a team from Rwanda, Nairobi City Thunder.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have your work cut out.
We have our work cut out for us, and we have the right people at the helm. I don't want to say the right person at the helm because Sam Vincent trusts and works very closely with Cyril Shabalala.
Yeah.
He works very closely with Lindo Sibangulu. It's a mix and a blend of experience as well as detailedness. We are going to need to be so detailed if we're going to win basketball games, and that's where Sam Vincent is an emphasis. He just doesn't want us to just stick to the script. He also wants us to enjoy the game and see things develop for ourselves and build a higher level of basketball IQ, because that's what it's going to take. I've played in the BK arena. At times you cannot hear your teammate standing right next to you. It's got to be a look in the eye, and he's got to know exactly what you're thinking, and that's where he's trying to get us to.
Almost like telepathy?
Yeah, telepathic thinking.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You make a good point. You've played in this arena before. Cape Town Tigers, you captained there.
Yes.
How much of that experience are you taking into this edition of BAL? Because I'm sure, like you said, there's a lot of firsts, but there is something about a captain or a leader or an influential person in a team saying, don't do that, do this, I've been here. That brings a sense of confidence and calmness amongst the team.
And, Sias, you mentioned that I believe that everybody has to be a captain in their role. And that's what I tried doing right now. I mean, we've got Neo Mtiba, who's probably the longest-serving captain of the South African senior national team, probably the longest-serving captain of sports in the country, And he's there, and he's going to be a vet on the team. We've got a point guard, Jovan Mooring, who's going to be a captain at the point guard position, and I'm going to be a captain at the shooting guard position. But there's guys playing different positions that have to lead in their positions. So we're in the situation right now where we have to empower everybody to be confident in what they're doing, to know what it is that they have to do, what they don't have to do. The experience that I've learned to the BAL, at the BAL, will not just be regurgitated when we get to the conference. Now's the time to prepare. When we get there, the lights are on. We're not going to hear each other anyway. So everybody needs to know that we've trained, we've got the reps in, and this is what we're doing.
Is there a particular matchup you're most looking forward to? Or was that opening game just that, like, let's rip the Band-Aid off and let's get stuck in here, boys, because we're not here to make up the numbers?
We're not looking for any matchup in particular. Whoever's on the other side, that's the matchup we need to really embrace, because every game's important. We're seeing right now with the Kalahari Conference, not River Hoopers, it's Al Ittihad of Nigeria, of
Tripoli.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Of Egypt.
Oh,
Al
sorry,
Ittihad
Egypt.
of Egypt.
Yeah.
They just won 4 games in a row, and 4 games in a row was enough to punch their ticket to Pretoria. And that's where we're thinking. Just go there, land 4 big solid punches, and we get to play in front of our home crowd at Pretoria. And that's what the thinking is. We're not thinking about just one team. We can almost say for certain that we're going to play APR on the first day. It always happens that way. The South African team will always play the host on the first day. Whether it's AfroBasket or BAL, the cookie always crumbles that way. So we're anticipating it, that we're going to play in front of a packed BK arena, second game of the day, and the crowd won't be in our favor. And we're going to need to upset the home crowd on that day, And then from there on, we just take it one day at a time. It's 6 games in 9 days. It's not going to be easy, but we need to keep on preparing. We have just over a month, right? So the preparation, I cannot emphasize how important it is.
How do you look to boss a game, especially against a hostile crowd? And we've seen it in other sports. As soon as you score early or you start dominating or you're bossing proceedings, the crowd goes quiet. And I imagine you pick up on that, right?
Yes.
And you're like, this is our opportunity now. Is there something you guys are looking to bring just to keep that intensity and hopefully, APR quiet and their fans?
So our aim is to make sure that we limit the mistakes that we do. Mistakes are turning the ball over, giving possession away. Mistakes are taking bad shots. Mistakes are not boxing out and rebounding. If we limit our mistakes, then we should win a game. I can't say to you that we want to go out in the first quarter and score 30 quick points. Sure. I mean, what if we're not making our shots, right? If we're not making our shots, they're not making their shots either. That's where we need to be, by limiting our mistakes, making sure they don't go on runs, because if they go on a 5-point run, which is just a layup and a 3-pointer, or 2 layups and a free throw, however which way you want to look at it, the crowd will get loud, and that's for us to absorb, calm down. Let's just play basketball. Just execute. Stay in our system and stay in our strategy for longer periods of time than they do.
Sure.
Right? Because playing in front of a home crowd can make you do mistakes.
Absolutely. The pressure is immense.
Exactly. Yeah. And not only the pressure, but I mean, the crowd can start yelling, and then now you thinking you're just throwing the ball up. And I'm trying to make the crowd go louder and louder, but you missing and we scoring on the other side.
True.
Then the crowd calms down, keeps quiet, and you can hear a needle drop in the arena, and that's where we want to keep them, But you can never preempt the outcome of the game. I think that's one of the beauties of basketball, that you just don't know what's going to happen. It might boil down to the last shot. They might beat us by 30 points. We might beat them by 30 points. It might be a 5-point game, a 2-point game. We just don't know. We have to be there 17th of May on that day and see what happens.
Man, that's exciting. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because for many of your teammates, it's a dream come true.
Yes.
We all consume NBA content, NBA Africa content. We've seen the BAL in action. We've had the privilege of having it on home soil, in Pretoria, and will be again. But I imagine that there's this little buzz within the group of players saying, we need to turn up here, because we know what a privilege this is. Right?
Yes. And I think that's a good place to be in.
Yeah.
Because once you appreciate the privilege, you get to appreciate the fact that, hey, I'm just doing this for a living. And this is not pressure. And, this is going to sound corny or sound like something you've heard before, but Sias Kolisi said it. NBA players have said it. Pressure is the person that doesn't know what they're going to eat tonight, or whether or not they're gonna make rent at the end of the month. Being on a basketball court, playing for a team that you love, representing a country that you love, doing the game that you love, that is a privilege.
Yeah.
And appreciating that should take your nerves down by at least 30%, at least 30%, because you will never not be nervous.
Yeah.
You will never not be nervous. But learning to not be a nervous wreck is where we need to be, because I'm going to be nervous.
Yeah.
It's not my first rodeo. I've played in the Basketball Africa League before, but I'm going to be nervous. And I have to embrace the fact that the nerves will come, but I need to still be Lebesa Selepe in that space of nervousness and anxiety and everything.
Are you ready to become a bet influencer with Betway? Betway are introducing a world-first feature where you can make money by just sharing your betting codes. Every bet placed is generated and shared means cash profit for you. All you have to do is add 5 or more picks to your multi-bet, place your bet to generate a booking code, and share with your friends. Tell me about what inspires you. You've made a good point now, and yes, Sias said it, NBA stars have said it, but what inspires you? There must be an element of coaching you do at Jeppy, representing a team that's representing the Rainbow Nation. But what motivates you? What drives you? What is that sort of fire in your inside that gets you up in the morning and wants to play basketball?
I'll be honest. I'm driven by family and love, right? I want my father, if he's looking down in heaven, to say, that's my boy. I want my mother to see the highlights or stay up late to watch the game like she does every day online and just say, that's my son. I want my brothers to say, that's our little brother. I want my daughter. My daughter just turned 3 years old. She has
Congratulations.
Thank you. She has no idea what basketball looks like or what basketball is about, or whether I'm scoring or whether I'm missing. But she's just yelling Papa the whole time. And she's just happy to see me out there running up and down. I want my wife to say, that's my pastor, but that's my husband. And that's truly my inspiration, that the people that I love the most look at me and are just proud of me. And I hope that I play this game long enough for my daughter to have a better understanding of what the game is and how hard it is for her dad to stay in shape, to stay sharp, And sort of that drives her, because I would love her to be an athlete. And should she not be an athlete, just be a hardworking member of society, in whatever she does, whether she does gymnastics or she does ballet. I wanted to dream bigger than the level of Basketball Africa League. I wanted to see herself at the Olympics. And that's why I do this. That's why I'm going to hold it out, And it's not just about my immediate child, my wife. It's also about my nephews and nieces who come to my game sometimes, and they see me coach and they see the passion. I want them to take that passion from me into whatever it is they're going to do, to do it with undying, unconditional love. And that's what I hope I can give to them, and that's what inspires me, just the opportunity to just do that for them.
Well, you've just given us our reels for social. Thanks. My team of Ray and Steve will be cutting that one. But yeah, I mean, you make such an excellent point there. It's about being, regardless of what industry, what sport you're in, just be someone who contributes to society. And just be a good human being, right, at the end of the day.
Yes.
I'm always curious to find out who sort of inspired you back in the day, right? We speak about where your basketball journey started, a cricket game that was just cancelled, and chucking the spikes and getting the shoes on onto the basketball court. But if you look around, I mean, there's been some incredible athletes over the years. Is it the Jordans of this world? Who was that person you thought, oh my goodness, that is the level, that is the ultimate? I wish I was like that.
So I mean, I'll drag this one out, because I know you do multiple sports, right? So if we look at rugby, which is my first love, I love it. Dan Carter. Okay. Dan Carter did it for me, because one, he did it with flair. Two, he made it look easy. But three, he really put in the hours, right? And it's gonna sound the same across board. Dan Carter really put in the hours. I watched a documentary where it shows that Dan Carter had a rugby pole in his yard, and he was kicking the ball from across the road into the poles. And
I saw that.
That's just hours. That's just hours. That's just repetition. When probably his teammates are playing on Nintendo. I don't want to say PlayStation, because this is back in the day. So they're probably playing on a Nintendo, but there's Dan Carter kicking the ball. And, for me, greatest fly half to have ever lived. In soccer, Zinedine Zidane. I looked up to Zidane because of the flair he did it with, 1-2, but he also did it at his own pace. You could never rush him.
Yeah.
The only time we ever saw him have a low light late in his career was in his final game in the World Cup final. But Zidane was just untouchable, and he was sure of himself, and he didn't mind single-handedly bringing down the opposition like he did to Brazil at the 2006 World Cup. And in basketball, where it's back home, it's Kobe Bryant. I just rest in peace to the Black Mamba. But the way he showed that it doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to have to stick to the basics. You're going to have to grind it out. You're going to have to put in hours. The first time I ever played in the national team was in 2011. I was 20 years old, and I'm 34 years old, and the last time I played in the national team was last year at the age of 33. And that's just because I took a page out of Kobe's book on just staying with it. You cannot cheat the grind. You have to put in the hours. And we talk about someone like Steph Curry, who's a guy that I also love. Steph Curry takes 500 shots a day, makes 500 shots a day. That's 3,500 shots in a week, right? He's only made 4,000 shots in his basketball career. So a week worth of work that he does week in and week out has only led to, a career's worth of 3-point shots. And that's something I try to tell kids all the time, is that you have to put in work. I make 250 shots a day, 200, 150, but I'm only going to make 2-3 threes in a game. That's as many shots as I'll take, but I still have to do that much work so that I can get that much out.
I love that. You can't cheat the grind.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to see some people with tattoos. Can't cheat the grind, right? It's coming here. But you're right. I think you posted something on your Instagram where you mentioned something about 9,000 shots or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Can you elaborate?
That's a Michael Jordan quote.
Okay.
Right. And I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but he says 9,000 times. I took 9,000 shots in my life, and about 300 times my teammates relied on me and I missed. I've failed over and over and over again. And that is why I succeed.
That's
It's not always going to go your way. I mean, let's just bring it back home and look at the Springboks losing to Japan.
Yeah.
In 2015, I think it was. We lost to Japan. It was, I mean, we all wanted to dig a hole and just bury our heads for at least a month, But the very next World Cup, they world champions.
Yeah.
The very next World Cup after that, they world champions. The same guys. It's not a different makeup of the team, one or two changes here and there, but it's just staying with it. It doesn't mean that in 2015 they weren't working hard.
Yeah.
They were working hard. They were working hard in 2011. They just kept on falling short, right? But they didn't give up. They could have given up and said, listen, we're going to be a mediocre team and that's what we're going to accept. But no, you stay with it and you believe that everything that you're going through, all these failures, all these shortfalls will eventually pile up to make the platform for success.
Yeah. How much inspiration do you draw from the Springboks? I mean,
a lot.
You look at, I think they're bang on, and it's worth a bet on Betway, to make it 3 from 3.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe France, if they turn up like they did the other day.
Yes.
Ireland, the All Blacks.
Yeah.
But I don't see many other teams making enough strides to challenge the green and gold.
I don't think the Springboks. I definitely think we're winning the 2027 World Cup. And it's got nothing to do with the ability to play rugby because everybody plays good rugby.
Everyone does.
Argentina plays good rugby. Scotland plays good rugby. England plays good rugby.
Well,
look, they went all the way to the final. You have to give it to
fair
them.
enough. How do they do that?
I don't know how
At
they do
World
it.
Cups,
they
just
peak at the right time, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, they peak is not as peak as a peak should be.
Yeah.
Happy
to remind them.
New Zealand. I feel like I always tell people you cannot write New Zealand ever.
Yeah.
Even if you think they're mediocre, these guys will clap you.
Yeah.
And I draw inspiration from South Africa because they find something to get them going.
Yeah.
And I think Rassie does a great job of it. I mean, now the athletes do a great job of it. They look for the little things, whether it's a kid on social media shouting Elizabeth Mfanam, and you can just almost feel that Eben takes that, puts it in his heart, and say, I'm going to play for this kid.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how to say my surname, but I'm going to play for him. And if you look at South Africa, we are so stricken with so many struggles that it is not hard to play for something. One thing I'm going to try put in my heart this year is to play for a basketball player. His name is Neo Fanampe. He just recently passed on. He's from Cape Town. Unfortunate. He was 24, 25 years old. I'd really love to play for him and dedicate the season to him because he's a player that may not have played at this level, but what he gave to basketball, the energy he played the game with, why not do it for a Neo Fanampe, a player that, the BAL may never ever know, but we will know and we will remember, and that's about finding the reasons to drive you, because there's a lot.
Are you guys planning something at BAL? Like, is there a possibility you can warm up with shirts saying to his dedicate to him or something?
And that's something that we probably should.
I'm putting you on the spot here. I don't know what the regulations are.
It's probably something we should drive the conversation about, and it need not be BAL. It could be just an MBB thing, because we're playing ICSL, we're playing JBL. Just the dedication to say, listen, this is a young player who played basketball, the game that we love. We'll never get the opportunity to do it again. Let's just pay homage to him.
Yeah.
Let's just give him his flowers, And it's unfortunate that we can only give him his flowers now, but it's something. It's something that, one, can drive us, but two, for the family, just to reach out and say, sorry for your loss. We see you, and we're doing this for you, for your memory.
Gone too soon.
100%.
You speak about competing in the South African League and where you find yourselves as a team at the moment. I look around and basketball needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
You guys are, the spotlight's firmly on you because of BAL, but when I look around domestically what's happening, there's a lot that needs to be done considering how strong the school systems are.
We need corporate South Africa to throw money at a basketball professional league.
Okay.
A proper basketball professional league. A league that will run for 6 months.
All right.
Consistently, consisting of 30, 40, 50 games, It doesn't need to be 10 teams. It could be 6, 7 teams. Because if you really dig deep, you will find that you can only really form 6 or 7 teams of proper quality players that will put up a proper quality product on TV.
Yeah.
You know,
A strength versus strength product.
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And it will grow from there.
Yeah.
It will grow from there. Currently, right now, we have MBB, we have Super Elite, and we have Josie Nuggets.
Yeah.
Those are Joburg-based teams, strong, right? Consisting of athletes, consisting of guys that could compete at the BAL level. We need 3 more.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, these 3 are only in Johannesburg. If we could get one.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough.
It's
if we
very
can get one that covers the Limpopo, Mpumalanga area,
Yeah.
you know, get 2 in KZN and 1 from the Cape, or 2 from the Cape, 1 in
Schools are
KZN.
there.
Exactly. The schools are there. And if we could get that, and you don't need to be from Western Cape to play for the Cape team. No, it could be
Sias
me.
is not from Durban.
100%, you know. And that is what I believe basketball needs at a professional level.
Okay.
You know, but we still need to build from the ground up. We need district basketball in every district in the country, you know, and that is where I think we're failing at club basketball level. Sports basketball is doing a great job, but remember, these kids play January, February, then it's rugby season.
Yeah.
Then they play again September, October, then it's exams. It's
Year's
4
done.
months. It's 4 months.
Yeah.
It's 4 months. We need more basketball, and the clubs have to do it. They have to get their houses in order. I'm talking under 12 boys and girls, 14 boys and girls, 16, 18, ladies senior division, men's senior division, maybe a master's team, maybe a second division for the men, because the ladies don't always have the numbers. That is what we need as a country, in every province, in every city. If we can have that, then it's attractive to corporates, because corporates can see that, listen, there's a league in Limpopo, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, but we're not there yet, you know, and we may never get there. Unfortunately, administration is an unattractive part of sports, which is why you see basketball South Africa doing what they're doing, athletics South Africa doing what they're doing, coming before parliamentary conference, parliamentary sittings, and just displaying a house that's not in order, because it's free work at the end of the day. You know, not a lot of people get paid for it. If they do get paid, it's probably an embezzlement of funds or something that's being done illegally, unfortunately. But that's where we find ourselves, you know. So it's something that we need to look at. Do we want to pay office bearers, you know, because it's a lot of work. I say this from experience. I was the treasurer of Johannesburg Basketball Association. And I was like, wait, I went to school to do accounting. I can't be doing this much work, hours on end, that I could be playing basketball, training, and I'm not getting paid for it. You know, office bearers needs to get paid, but where does the funding come from?
Yeah.
Do we go to the national notary? Do we go to corporate South Africa? Those are the conversations that need to be held and had now.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a job.
Well, I'm afraid it's you has to drive that. I know you're a current player, but when your time is up, you guys are the custodians of this game. And that's the reality is, because if you're not getting the support from the administrators, you have to become the administrators. That's the reality of taking it forward and ensuring that the next generation of your talented young kids from Northwood and Jeppe fill your shoes.
Mr. Plessis, I cannot even argue. You know, it's a reality I'm going to have to face. There will be a point where I have to go back to being an administrator.
Yeah.
You know, and I will forestall that day, because I really love playing and I really love coaching, but it's something that I cannot run away from, because I went to school because of this game. You know, paid for my tuition at 2 different institutions. You know, I have to give back more than what I'm doing right now. You know, and unfortunately that might come at the expense of family time that I will spend. But like I'm saying, hopefully gets to the point where we get paid to do it. And, you know, it can be something where I can say to my wife, babe, I'm not here, but this is how much money I'm bringing in for doing this, you know, and that's a different discussion. So, yeah, you're right. You are 100. I cannot even disagree with you.
It's not now.
Yeah.
It's not 2 years' time. There's still lots of basketball left in you. But the reality is, if you don't take it with your hands and say to the Cyrils and other people from other teams, we need to band together to make this happen, and corporate South Africa give us a hand here, it's the only way you're going to be successful and see that dream realized. When you're a pensioner at the side of the courts, I made that.
Yeah.
At the moment, basketball has made you the human being you are today.
Yes.
But it's up to you to be the one
It makes another.
that creates the legacy for
Yeah.
the sport. And that's the reality of the situation. And it's a pity because you would hope by now
It's running.
things were running,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, you've got some work ahead of you. So, tell me a bit more about the next steps. You guys training daily at the moment. When do you sort of leave and when do you get there? Is there a bit of time to acclimatize before? Or are you straight into the basketball?
So how it's happened in the previous years is that you arrive at the conference 3 or 4 days before you start playing. So you have time to prepare at the arena. Then you have a media day, which is a lot of fun, a lot of pictures, lots of noise.
I've seen it. It's actually, it's busy.
Exactly. Media day is something. So we get there. If we play on the 17th, I think we might leave the country on the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Luckily, it's not a mad flight.
No,
in
it's not.
Different
Three
time
and a half
zones.
hours.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
What is the general feeling of the media coverage of the sport? Because it's, with all due respect, very much a Cinderella sport, despite the global appeal of basketball, the NBA. I mean, I look at the LA Lakers and the rock stars that are running around there. LeBron at the age of, I think, like 55 or something. No, he's not
Minus
quite.
15.
Yeah, no. But you know what I mean? It's an incredible advertisement for the sport.
Yes.
And obviously, when the media sort of sees MBB playing in BAL, what's that reception been like? Has there been enough interest? I mean, could there be more done for the awareness around it?
So, I mean, we have you, Sias, right? We have you. We have a gentleman at Newsroom Africa by the name of Yolule Koshe. We have Luolum Kalipi. We have, why is his name escaping me? Tabiso Musia. These are gentlemen that are always prepared to cover basketball on their platforms, you know. And shout out to you guys because we need to get our story out there. We really need to get our story out there. And so the media is receptive. It could be more.
Okay.
It really could be more. We need it to be more. We want to talk. You know, as you can see, I really don't mind yapping on and on and on. It got me in trouble in school, but I cannot believe it's allowed right now as an adult. You know, so a lot of basketball players have a story to tell.
Yeah.
You know, you think about someone like Neo, who is 43 years old, as I said, and used to play basketball bare feet. You know, I won't go too deep into his story. It's his story to tell. You have someone like Nkosinati Sibanyoni, who's from Wattville. Used to play basketball on a hoop. I mean, that's dangling at a very bad angle, you know, and he used to put a brick on the court so he can learn how to dunk, right? Wow. So he used to step on a big brick and then dunk it, you know, and now he's dunking a basketball at the Basketball Africa League. Everyone has a story to tell, you know, and guys are more than willing to tell their story.
Yeah. It's one of the most beautiful sights in the sport, isn't it? I mean, a three-pointer is special, that one that beats the buzzer. But when it comes to a dunk, I mean, there's been some incredible, I mean, there's been thousands over the years, but I mean, some of the iconic images, right, of these legends dunking the ball. I mean, it's how satisfying is it to go up and dunk the ball? I would never do it. I would need a trampoline, maybe 2.
It's exhilarating. You know, because you feel like you have so much time in the air. I mean, I'm a veteran right now, so the amount of dunks I have are few and far in between. I'm trying to roll back the years. So I've got this thing going on Instagram where I say I'm going to post a dunk every day. I didn't do it today because I had to rush to the show. But
you can be excused today.
I'm trying to get up there, you know, because it feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels so good. I mean, there's a sequence we had last weekend when we were playing against UJ in the Inner City Super League, where 34-year-old Nero went and dunked and hung on the rim, legs up, everything. I mean, that was supposed to be a technical foul because you're not allowed to hang on the rim. But the refs were so shocked that Nero was dunking the ball that they let it go. And the very next possession, I got the ball and I threw it up for Nati, who then caught it and dunked it.
Nice.
And, you know, that's a sequence that gets the crowd buzzing.
Yeah.
You know, it forces the opposition to call a timeout because they need to talk about it. Why are these old people running at us? I mean, we're the young ones over here. It's just a feeling that I cannot explain. You just have to do it to know it. And I mean, you can go to a bounce. You know those little bounce where it's kids go, you bounce, and you can throw it in, and you
Saturday
can also
morning. That's where I'm going after the show. How much of the NBA content do you consume? You know, obviously it's hard to hide from it influence, right? But how much do you consume? Like, we've got a couple minutes. We wrap up the show, but it's everywhere and it's phenomenal. And it's when the trade's happening, there's March Madness. That is, you know, there's so much American NBA basketball content. You can't ignore it as a player, as someone who's involved, who's going to play on Africa's biggest stage.
Yeah, I mean, Sias, I grew up in Mfolo, Soweto. It was a 4-room house. So not 4-bedroom, 4 rooms.
Okay.
So you walk in, it's a kitchen. Then you walk in a few more steps, that's the dining room. And then it's our room and our parents' room. Just that's how it was split up. And I would wake up to watch the NBA, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. I remember Kobe Bryant's shot over Dwayne Wade, the buzzer beater. I'm pretty sure you've seen the highlight. I screamed so loud that Saturday was destroyed for everyone in the house. And I'm still that person today. Might not wake up that early all the time, but I have a segment of my life where I say, I'm going to kick back and just catch up on all my sports. I mean, I watched Luka Doncic return to Dallas and score 45 points the other day. It's just so tough to ignore. I mean, while we're talking about African basketball, in the March Madness Final Four for the gents, Kaman Muluwach was playing for Duke. Ruben Chinyelu was playing for Florida, and they went on to win the NBA championship. This is a kid born and bred in Africa, went to the NBA Africa Academy, and now he's sitting at the helm of basketball in America for colleges. And you know, if that doesn't sound like a beautiful story and a beautiful reason to consume as much basketball as possible, I don't know what is.
Last one. What do you want to achieve at this year's BAL? Personally and as a team.
MBB, we want to be crowned 2025 Basketball African League champions. Lebesa Selepe has to play better, has to play with confidence, has to remind himself why he decided to play basketball and walk away from cricket and rugby and soccer and every other sport that he loved.
Well, it's a big challenge. It's one I'm confident that you guys can achieve. Whole country is behind you.
Thank you.
Not the whole continent, but the whole South Africa is behind you. We wish you all the best. And thanks for having such amazing passion and time for the sport that we all love and for giving back. And this is just the beginning of your basketball journey, I have no doubt.
Thank you so much, Sias. We appreciate the platform. The team has said Ladleni will always have time to talk to you. So keep inviting us and we'll keep coming. And once again, congratulations on the new studio.
Thank you so much. I can't take much credit for it, but Lebesa Selepe, thank you for making time. All the best. Godspeed.
Thank you.
And do us proud.
Thank you, sir.